Okay, guys, you'll have to pardon me for my change of tone all of a sudden. Unfortunately, this game was much longer than I expected. And now if we just look at the little timer, it's 27 minutes, so this is about halfway through the game. And basically I totally underestimated it. And I just needed to give my voice a quick break, maybe get some food and all that, just so that I could recuperate myself, so to say. It's kind of hard doing a solo cast on your own, especially one that's so long and one that has so much action going about, so 2v2 and above. Usually it's a lot easier when you're working with somebody else, say Ryan and that, to be a bit more casual and have somebody else to bounce ideas off of and sort of let the speaking come in terms. So hopefully this is okay for you guys. I took a quick look at the other videos just in the first half, should I call it? Yeah, I suppose the first half. And the sound was a bit too high, I think. Now, I did actually get somebody on the Game Replays forum that was saying that the sound is a bit too quiet in the game, and apparently there was no sound. So I have cranked it up a bit, but it seems like I might have cranked it up a bit too much. So hopefully this is the appropriate volume. Hopefully it's not too loud. Hopefully you guys can still hear something in terms of sound. And so hopefully this will be okay. Now, yeah, I haven't actually done replays with Ryan in a while. He seems to be quite a busy guy as well. I was hoping that when my exams would be finished, I'd be jumping right into COH, playing loads of games, getting loads of practice, and having casual fun and all that sort of stuff, and doing casts and so on and so forth. So doing all that good stuff. And funnily enough, it seems like my idea didn't actually go down to plan. Ryan has been working loads and he's busy with stuff. Apparently I heard his house got flooded the other day. I don't know exactly why. I don't think he's in the Mississippi in America. But, oh no, he's not in the Mississippi. He's definitely not. I think he's somewhere on the East Coast. But anyway, so back to this replay. It is sort of unfortunate that I'm not casting with Ryan at the moment, but I assure you that we will get back into it soon enough. So if we're going to be looking at what's happening, we did have that Calliope out from Greatness, doing a bit of harassive damage, and looks like these hetzers were trying to go and catch that Calliope, but it looks like one of them has actually had their little leg broken and is immobilized at the moment. These other two hetzers are trying desperately to defend it, but will they able to do so? I don't think so. It looks like they need to get themselves out and take care of themselves rather than trying to save their long lost comrade at the moment. So gun damaged, we have the damaged engine as well. Now, by gun damage, what the heck could that mean? I mean, the hetzers don't really have much of a gun that can be damaged except the turret. And it doesn't look like the turret is damaged. Maybe they mean the turret on the top. Now, this is a sort of funny thing. If you guys haven't noticed, if you look at the hetzer, now look at the very top of it. The MG turret is moving by itself. Ooh, kind of freaky, isn't it? Maybe there's like a slight ghost or something. But apparently, to my knowledge, now I thought maybe this might have been just something that the developers overlooked, but I think I actually found out, to my knowledge, that the hetzers, their MG was actually controllable from the inside of the tank, and that sort of would make sense, because if you look inside the tank, it is sort of big. Like there's an open space that you could go into and, you know, do whatever you like in there. And so yeah, I could imagine that somebody might have been controlling the turret, although I'm not exactly sure how accurate that could have been. But fair enough. I suppose if you can control it and you can kill guys, then why not? And so we just have a bit of a damaged panzer just crawling about on the field at the moment. This medic really needs to get away, maybe be a bit faster and run, but it doesn't look like it. In terms of battle, it is quite quiet at the moment. Just all this massive amount of men. So blobbing galore. We do have one blob here, a blob here. Obviously countered by the Wehrmacht's propaganda war, should I say. And we do have the King Tiger out on the field as well. So that is what the Terror Doctrine has been holding out for. And that is what he has. So this could be quite a change of events. If we look at the map at the moment, guys, we do have a big push on the left-hand side, or top side by the Panzer Elite, and it seems like quite a stalemate in the center of the south side at the moment, but this is all open up to change. The only thing that can counter all this stuff is this mass blob is what seems to be the Panzer IV and the King Tiger. How effective these Grenadiers will be will, well, probably not too effective against all these guys. And what a big battalion. This is crazy. If we just try and count, there's 4 squads from Greatness, or should I say 3 riflemen and the tank. And we have, oh god, hold on, if we switch over to Empire. Oh wow, this is a lot of stuff. So this is definitely going to be a mass rush of guys. And even the Tiger has to be afraid of this and needs to start crawling away. The Panzer Grenadiers are trying to give some sort of support, but what support that could be, I'm not exactly sure. Now this blob is just asking for some sort of artillery. I'm just dying to see some sort of like Nebelwerfer. I should watch how I pronounce Nebelwerfer, because apparently I have not been saying it correctly. But hopefully that was alright, Nebelwerfer or something like that. But that is totally asking, the blobs are definitely asking for some barrages from there. Now we do not see any sort of progression from the Wehrmacht, still at T2. I would definitely like them to tech up to maybe T4 and maybe start getting some tanks. Austrians could be so good at the moment at taking out all the infantry on the field, especially these massive blobs. So even 2 Austrians, for example, would be so effective. They just pummel their little shells at a very fast rate. They could easily kill loads and loads of riflemen, no problem, and rangers as well. So it seems like the Axis, the evil force, is quite content on trying to keep the right hand side at the moment. There's absolutely nothing on the left hand side. This seems quite bad for the Allies at the moment, since they are quite pushed, nothing on the front line. However, the Panzer Elite and the Wehrmacht are doing quite a bad thing by leaving the left hand side open. This basically allows the Americans who are on their back foot to actually regain control of the map. So this is what we're actually going to be seeing. So I do like the Empire not being so stubborn and constantly trying to go back on this side, the right hand side. I do like him going to try and fight elsewhere, so mixing it up. And totally unopposed at the moment. I mean, it would have been really helpful, even if there was some sort of like MG bunker, maybe even mines from the Wehrmacht. That could at least stop this progression from happening too fast. And that sort of puts the Wehrmacht in and the Axis, should I say, plural, since there's Panzer Elite and the Wehrmacht. So the Axis, they put them in quite a bad position, because now we just have this constant sort of capping away on the left hand side. Very quick progression, as you guys can see, multiple squads splitting apart and just trying to capture stuff. Now I think one of the hardest things about casting a game by yourself, especially when you're trying to talk all the time, is that it really kills your throat. I think you guys really need to be in a position like my position, or maybe even like a radio show host. I honestly don't know how some people on the radio can do shows for 3 hours, for example. Because I'm telling you guys, like, my throat is absolutely killing me right now. I'm not sure if it's like my thyroid or something, but it definitely feels like some sort of glands in my throat, which are really killing me from talking so much at the moment. So this is why I do like my little breaks. So pardon me if I'm just gonna be maybe not so, well, I will keep on talking, but maybe if I'm a little bit more quiet, just to give my thyroid a bit of a chance to recover from all this talking. And so we just have a bit of this mass blob just moving about, just in mass horde. Absolutely crazy. If you're going to try and counter massive blobs like this, what you really need is a combination. Firstly, massive infantry, you're going to need massive anti-infantry. But then again, not necessarily so. What you can do is some devious things. You can put down mines, for example, delay their progression of their attack. What you can also do is try and hit them at the heart, and you can do that by hitting them with some artillery. Or likewise, and this is very sneaky, there's also a third option. If you're chasing them away to their base, you could drop artillery on their reinforce point? Is that the right word? Retreat point, there you go. So in front of their HQ, and that would be able to kill any retreating men, especially when they're down to a few men left anyway. So massive collision of forces at the moment. This Panzer IV just totally taken out. No chance whatsoever against all these bazookas. Now, bazooka is least effective anti-tank in the game, but they do have the most damage. The only thing about them is that they suffer from a high amount of scatter and also a very small amount of penetration, but I suppose that is the price you pay for 400 manpower for a ranger squad getting a free bazooka with it. So I suppose that's the price you pay. But then again, as you guys saw, very effective, taking out the Panzer IV and the Hetzer, badly damaging another Hetzer as well, and even the King Tiger had to start running away from that. But as you guys can see, it just seems like this sort of wave, sort of cycle of bring them onto the field, then retreat, reinforce. We did have the propaganda board to try and chase them away. I'm not exactly sure why. I can understand that there was only like one Grenadier squad here and one badly damaged one over here. But then again, it's not something really to worry about. Usually when you're trying to force to retreat somebody, it's usually during an attack. So say if they bring in an attack with tanks, then you want to retreat their infantry. Obviously that can't retreat their tank by throwing down propaganda war, and then you can separate out the units and make the job of taking out the tanks much easier. And so just a bit of a stalemate at the moment. Always calm. The allies are on the back foot. Greatness is on the back foot. Empire is on the back foot. So what could they pull out of this? Now this is kind of interesting. We have something coming out of the motor pool, and that was an anti-tank gun, so not a bad choice whatsoever in terms of trying to take out all the tanks on the field. It does seem like the Axis are very content on their tanks, so we did have the King Tiger, we did have the Hetzers that are now camouflaged, the Panzer IV, so there are lots of tanks, not so much in infantry. As you guys can see, just a bit of infantry with just Panzer Shreks, so not much in terms of anti-infantry. We really need to see more of that. And as you guys can see, just this massive blob. This is crazy. I mean, this is when abuse really starts kicking in, and this is the sort of stuff that would annoy you and me in a game. But like I said in the beginning of the replay, it is a totally valid strategy. There's no rule book written anywhere where it says it's not allowed to use blobs. Obviously, it's a sort of I think the idea about it becoming annoying comes from the fact that there's not much micro involved. A lot of players really determine skill level by the amount of micro a person can do, and so by blobbing it up, you're obviously just, well, hardly any micro, just moving entire force as one. And so obviously people get annoyed at that. They think that people are noobs, and that's the sort of reasoning behind it. But then again, as I keep on stressing, it's just it's a valid strategy. If it works, it works. You gotta learn to live with it. And so just a huge force of guys on this side, totally encircling the axes. So we have greatness on this side with a few anti-tank guns, a half-track rifleman, but a massive sweep of men coming in from Empire, just brutally demolishing that MG and taking out the half-track, I believe, the infantry half-track. But totally encircled, we have this massive blob just coming up right behind them. The unfortunate thing about all this abuse of blobs and the terror doctrine is that propaganda war, 100 ammunition. If your opponent is going to be constantly blobbing, you're just going to be wasting so much ammunition. You got to be really selective of when you use propaganda war, and you have to be using it just in dire moments or to separate the infantry from the other targets that might be more important, for example. It's so a bit of a little rat race on at the moment, cat and mouse, just chasing each other, trying to take each other out. Hetzer's doing a decent job at taking down Veterancy 2 Sherman, but whether they'll be able to do that, I do not know. Gun damaged on this Hetzer, which is quite a bad thing to happen. This Hetzer is Veterancy 2 with the armor, and so that is going to be quite a big loss if he does manage to lose this Hetzer. Veterancy is hard to gain. As you guys can see, the Hetzer is taken out, so quite a big loss. It was pretty much an eye for an eye. Sherman Veterancy 2, Hetzer Veterancy 2 going down, and also a little M8 going down. If you guys actually saw, I absolutely love when they spin out, because sometimes they go on their two wheels and just sort of crash. and explode. Sort of cool animation to see there. And so this is about to be entering the late game. We're at 41 minutes at the moment, almost 42. It seems like in terms of the doctrine abilities, everybody is pretty much dead into the near the end of their doctrine. So Greatness has almost all of her abilities unlocked. She has field repair, so she has both the right hand side and the left hand side available. The only thing she needs more is the Pershing. And as you guys can see, she is saving up her CP for that, so it'll be coming quite promptly. And so basically we have this King Tiger backing off. Not much effective use of the King Tiger, should I actually comment, because usually King Tigers are the changers of the game, but it seems like MetaMokReborn has been quite reluctant about using his King Tiger. Usually he should be the spearhead of an attacking force and doing a lot of casualties on the enemy, but as you guys can see, this entire time that it's been out, about 20, no, maybe 15 minutes or so, it's only managed to take out 17 guys, so that's averaging about just over 1 man kill per minute, which is really not that much for a King Tiger. Oh, so we see a MetaMokReborn. I hope I said that right. So that does mean that a Sturm Armory has come out. Now usually I would say this is too late for Sturm Armory, go for your T4. But then again, the only effective thing that comes out of the Sturm Armory at this time is the Nerbowerfer. The Puma is easily countered. The Stug or Geschutzwagen, perhaps the Geschutzwagen might be nice. Stug, no, absolutely not going to be useful at all anymore in this late of the game. So I would definitely say go for your T4, especially when MetaMokReborn has, let's see, how much fuel does he have? He has 501, oh my gosh, that is a lot of fuel. So I think you really should definitely go for his T4 and get those tanks out. Especially the Ostwinds, those would help a lot. But this is what I've been talking to you guys about. Just trying to keep a balance of your resources, spending them equally, so making sure that you use all your fuel, your ammunition, and your manpower. So how I was quite reluctant about getting Hetzers of the PE, I'm quite reluctant about some of the use of MetaMok's strategy. I mean, he really has a big build-up of fuel at the moment. He has not spent anything on tanks except the vast amount of manpower required for the King Tiger. What I definitely would like to see is T4 come down and get some tanks on the go, especially with all this fuel stacking up. Another propaganda war coming down. 100 ammunition loss for the Wehrmacht, and basically no loss for the Americans. All they lost was their ability to push forward. But then again, they still keep maintaining all that manpower they kept. They haven't lost any guys. They can just bring it back right onto the field in no time at all. And it seems like a slow wearing away of the Axis at the moment. So what we saw was that the Allies were quite pushed in on their base. Now sort of a reversal. We do have the Calliope harassing the Axis a lot. The blobs, the everlasting, continuous, over and over blob. Oh man, this is absolutely crazy. And so it's just basically pushing the Axis back to their base. What we had was the Americans near their base. Now it's pretty much split even. With which I would actually say that the Wehrmacht are on a slight back foot. I know everything pretty much has their veterancy. Veterancy 3 on snipers, veterancy 3 on the grenadiers, on the infantry. A Jagdpanther coming out from the PE. So that means he has gone for his right hand side of the tank destroyer doctrine. And now he has his Jagdpanther. Now this is again, I'm going to be commenting on how these players are spending their resources. Again, the Jagdpanther is quite an expensive tank to get, and it costs a lot of manpower. And so the unfortunate thing is, again, unbalanced use of your resources. so maybe not the most wise thing right now. He especially doesn't really need anti-tank considering that there's so much blobs on the field. There are a few Shermans, but they can be handled by the Hetzers already, and the Panzer Shreks, and especially the King Tiger. So this Jag Panther is really not needed at the moment. What they keep on stressing is more anti-infantry. If you got more Panzer IVs, for example, or maybe even, I don't know, just maybe even Panzer Grenadiers with the Wehr, that might be even enough to do some damage on the infantry. Likewise, maybe even a mortar half-track from the Kampfgruppe company building. That could definitely put quite a few holes into the blobs. So it's always these little interesting things that you guys need to take note of. Just think, what do I need to counter at the moment? What is my goal? And how am I going to do that? Now you always have to make sure that you do the pros and cons of everything. Now then again, for example, there's two ways of countering infantry. One example is through the use of tanks, so say your Panzer IV, and the other way is by infantry, so say if you had infantry with the MP44s. Now the thing you have to realize is that, say if you try and fight with using Panzer IVs, now there are a lot of Rangers on the field. That could be quite difficult, but if you have multiple Panzer IVs, you could do a decent job. And then if you're thinking about infantry, there are quite a bit of bars, but then again, as long as you manage the micro on your infantry, you can rush multiple squads of MP44s into the bars, or at least keep them in cover and maybe wait for the bars to charge you. And then you can do a lot of casualties that way and maintain your micro just to retreat the squads that are injured. So there's always a pros and cons of how should you counter something, basically. And so more and more skirmishing going on. This battlefield is just totally being wrecked. If you guys see, these craters were not here in the beginning. Everything is just being torn apart. Oh my gosh, I haven't even checked the VPs. The axes, or no, this isn't even the axes. If I switch on over back to greatness, axes or the allies are down to 8 VPs. Now I haven't actually realized this, but the axes are down to 8 VPs, or the allies are down to 8 VPs. The axes are down to 91. Now this is becoming a battle for the points. I can't believe I've overlooked this. Wow, I must have been so immersed in all the action that was going on. But it looks like this might come down to a victory win. Who could it be though? It's really open. Just 8 more points. It's as simple as keeping this point, the axis keeping this point, and the axis keeping this point. That could definitely take out the allies. That's all they need at the moment. Now this is something that if you're playing in your situation like this, obviously you recognize that you need to get your opponent down to down the rest of the 8 VPs to win. How are you going to do this? Now you might be constantly rushing for the VPs, and you know that might work, but then again you need to also realize that you don't want to be too frontal, you don't want to be too bold, you don't want to charge into things and potentially lose a lot of guys. Make sure that you have a big enough of a force first, and make sure that you won't lose all of them before you start capturing the VPs. Because the last thing you want to do is start capturing a VP, capture it, lose your guys, and then have nothing. You got to make sure that you have a bit of stability first before you finish off your opponent. And still, neutral points. 1 VP to the Americans and 1 VP to the Axis, and a neutral one at the moment. This Sherman, using its Allied War Machine ability, even though it has Veterancy 2, just trying to prevent the Axis from even taking this VP point. Just even being harassed by moving forward and backwards in front of the infantry, just trying to prevent them from even getting to the VPs. So that is such an annoying thing to do, but totally works. Now the allies really need to be careful here, and very desperate, losing an engineer squad, but throwing down a Calliope shot just right on top of these Panzer Grenadiers, all 3 squads down to 1 man. Very, very heavy losses. Now it's quite likely that this squad could die. Can he capture the point? And yes, he does. Unfortunately, this point is captured and now neutralized, but it is likely to go back into Axis hands. And there we go. So 2 points to the Axis at the moment. 7 6. This is a countdown. Now we have the Rangers with their very insane capture rate, just capping away, neutralizing it. 4 points! This is painful to watch, guys, because they are so close to actually taking them out. So if I was actually going to try and do something, maybe I would try and keep this point and maybe go for the lefternmost point. But it seems like, oh wow, the Allies being very smart, totally barricading it with wire and tank traps. Now both opponents at the moment are being very brutal and just constantly trying to capture the points. They're throwing everything they have. And as you guys can see, this is becoming sort of a quiet, dullish game. And basically this is a sign at the late game when everything starts dying out, the main forces, you reach the complex basically. The climax of the game, should I say. All the forces are dead, everybody has pretty much lost a lot of their troops, and it's become very quiet. Or so should I say for the Wehrmacht anyway, and perhaps greatness. It seems like Empire still definitely has a mass force. This Tiger, oh my gosh, this loss could have sealed the fate of the Wehrmacht. Losing your King Tiger like that is just such a big loss. But then again, as I was saying, MetaMok, I just forgot his name there. He wasn't using his King Tiger. I would say that was quite a big loss to lose your King Tiger, but then again, he wasn't using it to full effect, so perhaps maybe not the biggest of losses, but still a very unfortunate thing to happen. In the hands of maybe a more aggressive player, that could definitely have done a lot more damage. Now the Nebelwerfer is trying to run away from oncoming bullet damage, but not being able to. This other Nebelwerfer taking more bullet damage. Oh my gosh. Huge losses for the Wehrmacht. This is looking so bleak for them. They were so close, but this is what I mean. You can't be pushing too fast, too furious, trying to cap away at points without this sort of stability. And this is what they had to suffer with. Because they did not maintain their fronts correctly, they lost the King Tiger, they lost multiple squads. They have now lost their opportunity to cap away. All they needed was 4 more points. Now they are down to 16. This is painful to watch as the Axis. Imagine playing a 54-minute longer game. I'm sure you guys have played an even longer game than that and then losing it. The disappointment. But then again, the absolute joy, the absolute ecstasy you would feel if you were the Allies and managed to make such a comeback from 4 points and winning this game. Imagine the ecstasy. So very painful to see. But we do have a bit of capping on this center VP point. Will he be able to capture it? I'm not sure with all the artillery coming down and everything. Could he manage it? Oh my gosh. No, it does not look like it. We did have this VP being captured, and this game, if this VP was captured in the center by the Wehrmacht, that could have been a very, very likely chance that the Allies would have lost this game. So literally by a second or so of capturing this, that changed the stance of the game. So very, very unfortunate. Still neutral points on at the moment. The VP is not moving. It's 6 for 4. Everybody's just fighting with their fists, just trying to capture the VPs. They are so desperate. Oh, these Rangers retreating too quickly. I'm not exactly sure why they retreated so quickly before capturing this point. And oh my gosh, could these Grenadiers be able to capture this point in the nick of time? One more shot could actually take them out. And oh yes, they do capture 2 points. 3 points for the Allies. This is, oh my god, this is crazy. This is 2 points left. Who could win this? Oh my gosh, down to literally 1 point. I have not seen this in such a long time, guys. Down to literally 1 point remaining. This is painful. If the Panzer Grenadiers can capture this while maintaining the point in the middle, they could win this, but no. Does not look like it will happen. The riflemen, with their ability to capture points faster than the Panzer Grenadiers, it looks like they will be able to win and capture that. Now this is literally just down to seconds. Down to seconds. Nebelwerfers actually coming down. Riflemen, the Allies capturing the point. This is just 4 points left for the Allies. 2 points to the 2 points left to the Wehrmacht. Oh my gosh, wow. And the playback is over. That is the end of the game. That was a very, very impressive last showdown there, guys. I'm sure you guys can feel the excitement. This is very literally down to the last man, maybe not even the last man standing, but the last second. You couldn't even tell who was going to win this. I hope you guys enjoy this replay. Wow. Now, I'm actually going to give my thyroid a break because I'm telling you, it's in a lot of pain right now. I'll try to do shorter casts or maybe get Ryan involved with future ones just so we can bounce off ideas and give my throat a bit of more relaxation during the cast. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this cast. I hope you enjoyed 2.601 while it lasted. I certainly did, and I'm looking forward to 2.602 with all you guys. So anyway, I will catch you guys later. This is Krebs Coho. Bye bye.